Let's solve an expression using order of operations. On the pretest, you were asked to do 5 times, parentheses 5 minus 2, times 2. And depending on what order you perform those calculations, you could get a couple different answers. So we use a specific order to perform the operation in expressions. All mathematicians agree on this order to make sure the correct answer is always calculated. The order is as follows. You start with anything in the parentheses, and then you would go ahead and calculate out the exponents. Then you do multiplication and division within the problem. And then finally, at the end, you do addition and subtraction. Now, just looking at this problem, we notice that we have an addition and subtraction that's inside parentheses. And since parentheses comes before multiplication and division, we would actually have to do that subtraction part first. Sometimes people like to use the acronym PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S, which we can use, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, to help us remember that order. So let's solve. We know that we're thinking that we have to take care of any parentheses, followed by any exponents, and then we're going to do multiplication and division within the problem, and then we'll take care of any addition or subtraction. Now, if something's not in there, we don't have to worry about it. We just skip it and move on to the next step. But I do have something that has parentheses. And so when I find that in the expression, I solve only that part of it and then bring down the rest of the expression because I know I still have to solve it. So 5 minus 2 happens to be 3, so I'm going to bring that 3 down. And now I don't have to worry about parentheses or subtraction or the 5 or the 2. I've taken care of that. That's worth 3. But I still have to worry about 5 times 3 and then times 2. And so I make sure I bring those parts of my expression down in the next step because I'm really only going to solve one step of this expression at a time. Now I can do 5 times 3 times 2, and I notice I don't have any exponents here, so I'm going to jump right down to the multiplication and division. I can do any parts that happen to have multiplication or division in any order because remember that multiplication, we can solve those in any order. And then if we're going to multiply something and then divide it, that kind of cancels it out. So when I take a look at this, I have 5 times 3 times 2. I'm going to do the 5 times 2 first because I happen to know that that is 10, and 10's easy peasy for me. So really what I did was the 5 times the 2, which means I need to bring down this times 3. And we all know that 10 times 3 is 30. 30 is the only correct answer to this. If you didn't follow the correct order of operations, just go back, start with the original equation, and take it one step at a time to get to 30.